I'd like to call May 12th, 2022 Town Council meeting to order. Will you rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, the roll.
Alicia? Here. Alan?
Here.
Mary? Here. Steve?
Present.
Bob?
Here. Citizen input. Is there any citizen input on any topic before the town council? Hearing none, I'll move to open the public hearing for resolution 2022-16, designating usage and distribution of the American Rescue Plan Act funds. With the hearing open, is there any public comment? Second call for public comment. Third and final call for public comment. And I will note that in your packets, we have the proof that the public hearing was properly and appropriately advertised. Public comment, I will close the public hearing. Item number 4, the consent agenda. I'll be looking to a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, including the minutes of the March 10th, 2022 Town Council meeting, minutes of the April 14th, 2022 Town Council meeting, and claims totaling $695,301.32.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Only thing I will say, you did approve the minutes on March 10th, 2022, but on the last page, we found an error where it was Brooks, Myers, Brooks, and it should have been Kramer, Brooks, Myers, Kramer. So we corrected that.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, the roll.
Alicia?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
President, on the public hearing, I had the resolution listed up there. If you'd like to move the resolution down to item 1 or 2 under ordinance resolutions for the ARPA, we do need to take action on that.
We'll do that.
Okay, thanks.
Announcements. May 30, 2022, in observance of Memorial Day, the town offices will be closed. Moving on to reports, town council. Ward 2.
I'm just going to announce and remind that Kids to Park Day is the 21st. The park board has been working very hard to do something special for the kids and get them out of their houses and into the parks. The sound of kids playing means that summer's coming. So I'd like everybody to come out and have some fun. I know that Dyer and Bloom is graciously doing something fun for the kids, and that those times are 9 to 2. Also, it's the Spring Fling Craft Fair that day too, so 9 to 2. Yeah, see everybody out there. I will be out there having some fun with the kids.
Thank you very much. Alan, Ward 3.
Yes, last Thursday, the Historic Preservation Commission had its first meeting. Lace Schneider was elected president, Becky Jecka, vice president, Kevin Jacobs and Jason Schickner are the other commissioners. I just want to thank them. Adam has a little bit more work to do, but we'll probably get fully into it in June. Just want to thank them.
Thank you, Ellen. Ward 4.
I have 3 items. I want to note the passing of George Romer. He was the originator of all the soccer programs, the Dyer Kickers here in Dyer, which has provided all kinds of kids with all kinds of activities, especially learning leadership as far as soccer goes. Every child who plays soccer in Dyer should know that George Romer was the one that began that program many, many years ago. And sorry to see that, he has passed. Also, Arbor Day, we had a great turnout for Arbor Day for Dyer and Bloom. We gave out over 130 trees out that day and talked to a lot of people. It was certainly an enjoyable day. The third item is Wednesday. I will be attending a Redevelopment Association of Indiana site tour down in Lafayette. Pretty exciting because we have a new item in Dyer, the TDD, which we're going to be discussing at the redevelopment meeting. But we are an innovative in that area for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Ward 5?
Oh, yes, thank you. First and foremost, I want to show off my T-shirt. I am proud to wear a T-shirt here sponsored by the Dyer Fire Department. Did a wonderful job sponsoring autism awareness. It's a great fundraiser. I bought way too many T-shirts, but I'm proud to wear it. I thank everyone. If you get a chance, help out with all these fundraisers, and thank the chief for doing a good job with it. And thank all the firefighters for participating. I want to thank the chief for the police. Everyone doing a great job. Always friendly officers out there, no matter where we're at, and talking with them. I see Department of Public Works out in the street everywhere, picking up, cleaning up. Even now when it's really hot, they're still out there doing everything. So tell them we appreciate it. I greatly appreciate it. And for the distribution of the American Rescue Plan Act. This act was passed only by in Dyer, our Democratic congressman, Mervan and Andre Carson. I think there's one others. I wish all of them that represent Indiana, our senators and all the other counties would get on board, because out of this, we received $3,300,000. And there's up to 10 million for the COVID for towns and communities to help pay for everything that happened. It was a great program. We benefited tremendously from it. This was $3 million we would not have seen. So imagine what we could do if we can get the others on board to help out. There's other ones in Washington. I encourage everyone, from no matter what party you're at, to get a hold of your senators and Congress people and tell them how important this is and how important it is to all of our residents. We should stand up proudly and recognize how the town is utilizing this money. So thank you very much. And last but not least, Clerk Treasurer's Office. I've got a few of my neighbors complimented. Your clerks helped them out with some bills they had issues with. So thank you. Frank, you're doing a good job. Dave down at the end, one day I'll be able to sit down by you, but thank you. I appreciate everything you do, our attorney, everyone. It really helps out to show off our town of Dyer and help us accomplish a lot of our goals. So thank you very much.
Next report, Clerk Treasurer.
I have a donation for $5 for the K-9 program. If I can have a motion to accept it.
Motion to accept.
I'll second the motion.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, the roll.
Alicia,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Bob.
Aye. Town Manager.
Yes, I'll be circulating some dates and times for a possible study session to go over the Main Street development and the TDD proposed up there. We'll probably have a handful of dates to pick from by the end of the day tomorrow to get us all together, either in person, or if someone can't make it, I think we have some Zoom accommodations so that we can go over what's currently being proposed for what the future will look like coming out of the train station going down Main Street. I think it'll bring us all up to speed. We are going to jumpstart the brick program that's under the clock tower that you saw many years ago. So we're gonna get some information on how families can sponsor a brick under there again, finish that project out. I have a couple more on here, but I believe they're gonna be covered under Public Works, so.
Thank you. Town Attorney.
Yes, a couple litigation updates in the Speedway land acquisition and the Rosati's fine case. We have default in both cases. We're waiting on orders on those. There is an issue with barrels, one of which contains petroleum substances. That's a violation of town code. We contacted IDEM to see if the Indiana Department of Environmental Management to see if they were willing to take any action. They said, no, it's up to us. So I'm preparing a lawsuit to enforce that. We had a meeting with litigation counsel in the suit by Mr. Pine regarding a police action some 4 years ago. That case is in federal court, is in competent hands with Mr. Peltry. I'm finalizing the draft police pension board rules. Chief Alcott and I are working on sitting down and offering a crash course for the new police commission members. And the state of Indiana filed suit to acquire part of the Myers Castle property. It looks like they want to widen up in the eastbound lane, put in a right-hand turn lane. I filed an appearance in there just to get us on record, but I'm not sure we have any reason to object because our historic preservation districts haven't been drawn up yet, and I'm not sure that would, it's not going to stop the state from taking the property, it would just affect the price that we pay for it. So I will be in contact about whether and what action to take with that. Those are my ideas.
Thank you. Boards and commissions, Frank?
Yes, on water major projects, the Highland line has been active now. Next 30 days or so, we'll be decommissioning the existing Highland line. The Munster supply line, construction's completed, restoration needs to be completed, but we still don't have power to the meter vault. We're waiting on NIPSCO still with that. Hopefully that's sooner than later here. That's all we're waiting on. Distribution line from our pump station, that's been active for several months now. Just restoration is the only thing that needs to be completed. Pump station modifications, those are essentially completed with some restoration outstanding. And our emergency interconnection with Cherville essentially is technically complete. We're waiting for NIPSCO for power on that project as well. So, I mean, for the most part, those projects are completed, save restoration and power to those two areas, and then decommissioning the Highland line. We're actively working with determining the transport rate. There's been a lot of activity with London Whitty and also with the town of Munster and the town of Highland, and coming up with what that number is going to look like. I'm hopeful in the next 30 days we'll have some results on that for discussion on our board level and also with the council in terms of that transport rate. On the sanitary side, in terms of major projects, pretty much wrapping up the design of the treatment plant upgrade. So hopefully that is in the next 30 to 45 days on that project. So I have this time.
Okay.
Can't hear anything.
Hear this? Okay, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm talking pretty.
Maybe. Can you hear mine?
I talk quietly, so that might be part of the problem. But I can repeat that. I'm sure you.
Try the other mic again.
This mic, yeah. This one's not working.
That's what,
Okay.
and he has it down because when they're up. she can't hear.
Yeah.
Ms. Borgo, any comments from the park board?
Actually, we have some terrific news. The bison is going to be planted thanks to the Master Gardeners of Lake County giving us a grant, and Rome's Landscaping donating labor. We're going to be planting around the bisons and native Indiana plants to enhance that corner. So it's great news for everybody. It's not going to cost the town anything.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Department heads, Public Works.
Sidewalk repairs outside the road projects for this spring 2022 have been completed. That includes the area over by Besnill's Park, Parkman Drive, the crosswalk that we're installing the intervening system. So that's complete. Pavement markings from Main Street to US 30 on Sheffield Avenue will be getting later this month. That also includes being very also by the new crosswalk. So that once we're done with that portion of Sheffield Avenue, we'll go to that section as well. The blinker beacon system have been, which is called signals, poles, which are decorative, and the sign have been ordered. They should be delivered next month. So we'll install. Crack sealing in next week. of course, kind of continue to the town hall. That's the words. We're also looking at the situation we had on this 35 minutes. Again, we had a couple of, situations where we got traffic signals going out. What happened this morning was a situation with NIPSCO, so again, we're looking at strengthening those areas so that way we got battery backups work longer and trying to work with safety, see if there's an alarm system that we can actually see. And it's kind of, get a better idea how that can actually
Thank you. Police Department?
The month of April, we had 674 incidents with 46 arrests, 20 accidents, 283 citations. 46 continue working on Mexico. We are almost completing the procedure section of it, and we'll be moving on to, policy, we'll be moving on to procedure. For here, we have an accident for Sheffield. I'm working with Jeff for some signage. There is a crosswalk actually there. Now we put the signal board up, the traffic count, and to notify people that's a pedestrian walker. Plus the kids running out into the traffic, and we're working on that, but just so you guys are aware, it's something that we're moving forward.
Okay.
Thank you. Chief Martin, before I go to your report, I'll just take a moment of privilege to say we're coming up on the 1 year mark for Chief Martin's first year here as fire chief, and council positions aside, as a resident, I couldn't be more happy, more proud, and feel more safe in the community than some of the great strides you've made in there. Your first year, I think, has been extraordinary, and everybody took a chance on a new direction, and I think it's been absolutely fantastic for the community and the surrounding communities as well. And so I'm going to look for a motion now to authorize the town attorney to draw up a new 3-year contract for the fire chief.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, the roll.
Alicia,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Bob.
Aye. Chief Martin, your report, please.
Before I get my report, I appreciate your confidence. I know you guys took a gamble on a young guy that nobody even knew. My heart is always been with the fire service stands for the community, and it's great to see the cultural change we were able to bring to the department. And the sky's the limit. We have a lot of great people on staff that are doing a lot of good things for our community. Month of April, we had 140 total calls of service. We have 505 hours of training. I'd like to commend my personnel and Superior staff. Last Wednesday and Friday, we had 2 cardiac arrest saves during the day. So pulses once they reached the hospital, and again, that comes with training. And that good staffing during the daytime with that engine as well. We continued our install of smoke and CO detectors. So far this year, we've installed 169 smoke detectors in homes and Dyer. Continued with our install and inspection of car seats. We have a CPR class going on upstairs at Station 18 currently tonight. We'll continue that monthly for our Dyer residents. We're a little bit behind the beat, but we're still in the implementation of our policies and procedures. We still have 20 staff members going through in-part communication command training. We've had 3 graduate from the MAC Fire Academy on April 29th. Jacob O'Shears, Joseph Long, also Wozniak. All 3 of them are currently responding to all hazards in town and out of town. We have 1 graduate upcoming on May 26th from the Lake County Fire Academy that's also moved. Our new box card implementation should be in place next week to provide automatic aid for all structure fires in the town of Dyer. So that means instead of us having to wait for help, we get help immediately. We have an field test tomorrow night for the next 2 hires for the family population.
Thank you. Parks Department.
Tomorrow we have the splash pad bid opening, 10 o'clock here at Town Hall. And then after that, we're planning on May 24th to do the possible award of the project. So, and then hopefully shortly after that, we'll be able to get underway with the construction and stuff with that. I know the Kids Day to the Parks was mentioned already, but just to add on that, the Spring Fling, we do have some music as well. Food trucks will be there too. We also have a scavenger hunt that will be provided for the kids to kind of go through the Spring Fling event in Pheasant Hills Park as well. So yeah, it should be good. And that's kind of the start of the markets and the festivals and stuff. Our first community market is May 31st for the season. Then shortly after that, Summerfest, which will start June 9th. June 8th, we have the kids bike parade. And the movie in the park night as well. We are in the process also of submitting the Land and Water Grant, the 2022 Land and Water Grant for the Cherry Hill project, Pheasant Hills project. We also got that grant for the Autumn Chase project, and I know they did return back to the site on Tuesday to the work. They got three more weeks of work out there, and then they should wrap up with everything. And then Northgate Park, the pavilion, we're in the process of painting that whole building, the whole pavilion out there to give it a little fresh look and stuff. So, and then we're going to do some bird netting, animal netting around there to keep some of the birds that are nesting and all that. So otherwise, that's it.
Thank you. Neil, road projects?
Good evening. First project we have is the 2021-1 CCMG reconstruction project for Carnation, Edgewood, and Schilling. That's proceeding. The 2021-2 resurfacing projects, that's also proceeding with Reith Riley. Concrete is done, and they'll be proceeding to milling in the next week or two. The 2022-1 CCMG, we were awarded $1 million, and that's for the 214th Madison and Magnolia project. And we will be prepared with bids in coordination with the Stormwater Board, working with Tom Burke on the additions that they want as part of those projects. And we'll have to award those and be under contract at the August meeting, so we stay on track with our 120 days for INDOT. And if you guys are okay, I can give you the bid report now or wait till the other item. So for the local 2022 Dyer Street reconstruction projects, that's the local funding of Avalon and Belton reconstruction. We opened bids on the 10th. We had 3 bidders. The engineer's opinion of cost was $650,811.50. The range of bids was from $649, $984.26 to $976, $322.75. There were no errors noted in the bids, and the recommendation to award would be to Dyer Construction Company Incorporated in the amount of $649,984.26. And we have already prepared the notice of award, the contracts, and the notice to proceed, and those are in Dave's possession based on what your recommendation and award is tonight. So we can move on those ASAP. Any questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Under ordinances and resolutions, we'll begin with resolution 2022-16, designating uses and distribution of American Rescue Plan Act funds.
If I may, the reason this is coming to you now is the Treasury Department just finalized its regulations on the ARPA funds back in March, and we were going through, Dave and I were going through and making sure what was presented to you is in compliance. The main feature I would notice is under section 2B, the rule which is cited there requires us to make an election as to, you can take, it's kind of like taking the standard versus an itemized deduction on your taxes. You can either take the standard allowance of 10 million, or you can take an itemized loss. But since we were we're scheduled to get roughly 3.6 million. It's much easier to and achieves the same result if we just take the standard allowance. Other than that, there are various categories of allowed uses for ARPA funds, but since losses from COVID, lost revenues from COVID rather, are calculated to be in excess of the funds, the decision has been suggested to devote all the funds to that single use. And under section 4 is important too, that outlines procedure. The ARPA fund was created last year in resolution 2112. That's where all the funds will be paid into and come out from. And then all requests for payment will be submitted as claims. They'll just be noted as coming from ARPA. So if there's any questions for me, or I'm sorry, did you have anything?
Nope. Perfect analogy.
So am I right in that these funds are not going into individual funds with losses? These are going to be standalone funds that the town council will then authorize payment for if and when items come across the plate?
Exactly.
The lost revenue funds allow us to expend these monies on any uses that we expend monies from town funds for.
Okay.
So, and that's why we chose this particular course, because requires the least red tape and the most flexibility in terms of our expenditures.
That's good. I'll be looking for a motion to approve resolution 2022-16.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2022-17, transfers funds.
16. Sorry, we bumped down the.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. 2016, designating uses and distribution of American Rescue Plan Act funds.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, only thing I will add, we did our first ARPA report for prior. And what we did was, as we did it, every time you guys do an approval on any project, will be automatically uplifted into the gateway system. So this way, when the report's due 1 year from now, we won't have to backtrack. And it's transparent, the public will see it right away, and then it will be ready for the report.
Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, the roll.
Alicia?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye. Next up, I'll be looking for a motion to pass resolution 2022-17, the transfer of funds.
Make that motion to approve resolution 2022-17, transfer of funds.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, the roll.
Alicia?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye. Under new business, we have the bid award that Neil discussed. I'll be looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the bid award to Dyer Construction in the amount of $649,984.26.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. For discussion, I will just make a note that Avalon and Belden were not scheduled this year. We were able to take out a larger bond this year than we had in previous years. But since the rates were lower on the interest rates and the assessed value of the community went up, we were able to pull this money while still reducing the overall debt service to the community. So tax rates went down and we had more money, and now we're able to do Avalon and Belden. So I would just make that note. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, the roll.
Alicia?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye. Next up, we need to approve the Summerfest contracts.
Mr. President, I didn't get a chance to review them, and while I may have drafted some things differently myself, there's nothing in them that is offensive or that I would recommend or that would cause me to recommend against them. The only thing I would suggest is the chronic flannel and rolling R contracts list Summerfest as the client rather than the town. That should be changed to I give you the green light unless there's questions.
That's the same true for
Yeah.
the backside of the front one too. They're all listed in dire.
gonna say they're all
for some
listed that way.
reason.
Yes, the town of Dyer.
The Almond Grove Entertainment, turn to the back side of that page, it lists
Dyer Fest.
Dire
yeah, so-
Fest as a business.
Yeah, the front lists the town of Dyer. So I mean, you have to, when you construe it, you read the whole thing. So you could allow it, but yeah, I would change that too, just for sake of consistency.
So it's just, no, you gotta have a motion second.
Do I have a motion to approve either all three contracts in one motion or individually?
I'll make the motion to approve them individually.
Which one?
I'm gonna start with.
Almond Grove Entertainment.
Okay, I'll second that motion with, do we need a contingent that even though it's a Dire Fest, it's actually for the town of Dire is reflected on the front page?
Yeah, you could say with the amendment to reflect the town of Dyer as the public contract.
So I'll make the motion to accept Almond Grove Entertainment with the amendment that says Summerfest
That says town of Dyer
Oh, town of
instead
Dyer.
of Summer.
instead of Summerfest.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second for discussion. Madam Clerk, if I remember correctly, there was some concern, you'll forgive me, I don't remember which ones, something about.
Anything
having-
over $5,000 has to have a W-9. Well,
Okay.
every company has to have a W-9,
Okay.
but the liability insurance has to be over
Okay.
5,000.
Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, the roll.
Alicia,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Mary. Hi. Steve,
Aye.
Bob.
Aye. We're looking for a motion to accept the rolling R golf carts contract with the amendment of the town of Dyer being the bill to.
So moved.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
So these golf carts will not be used on our streets in the town of Dyer? Because pardon me? The rental, well, for the golf carts.
Yeah.
And we're renting them to the town of Dyer. So my question is, or I'm asking, will they be used on the streets of the town or just in the park?
The staff uses them to get around the park. That's it.
The staff,
Summerfest staff.
the Summerfest committee?
Yeah.
Is it for them?
I would also point out the indemnification clause really has no teeth because it says except for lessor's negligence. Well, that's pretty much everything that they would be sued for. The town wouldn't be indemnifying them against those claims.
I have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, the roll.
Alicia,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Mary. Hi. Steve,
Aye.
Bob.
Aye. Next, I'll be odd phrase. I'll be looking for a motion to approve the contract with Chronic Flannel.
I'll make the motion to approve the contract with Chronic Flannel
With the
With the
with
amendment,
the amendment
Town of Dyer.
that's town of Dyer.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, the roll.
Alicia,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Mary. Hi. Steve,
Aye.
Bob.
Aye. Any and all?
I have one item. Got to show the back my wonderful T-shirt. I Yeah, if you haven't got involved with the fundraisers, please get involved. They're doing a great job. And thank you, Darren. Happy almost anniversary. Wonderful job. Another contract.
I do have one item also. I know it's been brought to
Little Giant.
some of our attention about some of the signs in our
It is.
neighborhoods. Is it the neighborhood's responsibility to replace the signs, or how does that work?
Yeah, the entrance signs?
Yeah,
Yes, the town of Dyer has no responsibility to the subdivision entrance signs. They are not responsible for maintenance, care.
so if they were to, I mean, we have a one sign that's in very terrible condition, so how would? these
So if
people
there's
go about-
a homeowners association, they would work through the association, get that done through dues. If there's not,
There's not one.
the residents were encouraged to get together and come up to some kind of solution where it was a group effort. It is solely on their responsibility.
So what would the stipulations be about the sign if they came up and they, I mean, if they wanted a neon sign out there?
It would have to comply with town zoning ordinances, and in fact, if it's falling apart and violates town code, we can cite the HOA for a property violation and sort of motivate them. to
There's
fix
not
it.
an HOA, it's just. So, all right, I'll look into it further. Yeah, I just wanted to get some.
Yeah, I've had correspondence with the one that in the Meadows.
Yeah,
And it was, it was encouraged, depends, to change the sign look, would probably need to come through the town for approval, any kind of change of design, size, if it's going from a lighted, non-lighted. But if it's just maintaining the current sign, it's a totally different process. And I encourage the residents to get together and make it a group effort.
I don't think it can be maintained, it's pretty bad in the back, so if they just put another sign up that looks exactly the same way, it's
Yep,
fine.
yep.
Mr. President, if we're going to move on the 100 Chateau, since it's not coming from redevelopment, it should come to this meeting.
Okay. I have a couple for you know. One, I do have a quick question here. The contract for Lee Belinda for Little Giant. It is on the, if you look at your packet, it is on the reverse side of Almond Grove Entertainment. Is that a contract that we just missed? Okay. So then I will be looking for a motion to accept the.
I'll make that motion to approve the contract with Little Giant and the town of Dyer. And amount, looks like in the amount of $1,000.
We're gonna have to amend that, because it says Dyer Fest too.
I will amend the motion. I don't see that.
Right below the-
Okay, I'll amend the motions. So it's the town of Dyer.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, the roll.
Alicia,
I,
Alan,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Bob.
Aye. I also look for a motion to direct the town attorney and the town manager to begin the purchase process for 100 Chateau Drive for eminent domain for private use.
I'll make that motion.
Have at it.
I'll second.
A motion and second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, the roll.
Alicia,
I,
Alan,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Bob.
Aye. Since we plan to use TIF for Gettler, do you want to do that at RDC?
You can do it here
Yeah.
too. It's up to you.
Oh, okay. I had it on.
I mean, the council is the umbrella, but
Okay.
RDC can do it
That's fine.
since it's their funds.
I'll look for a motion then to wrap this up to do, to again, direct the town attorney and the town manager to begin the purchase of 2113 Gettler Street.
I'll make a motion to authorize Adam to present a proposal for the purchase of the property on Gettler Street.
I'll second the motion.
A motion and second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I know there was an issue with, were we doing the average of the appraisals or another number? That should be in the motion.
I think it was the higher.
The higher of
156.
I will amend my motion to authorize you to present the proposal for the higher the numbers.
We need a second to agree to the.
I'll second.
And just for clarification on purchase of the property, it's got to be the average of two estimates, and the estimates came in really low, and in order to hopefully expedite the acquisition, we're picking the higher of the two low ones. With very little difference.
Madam Clerk, the roll.
Alicia,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Bob.
Aye. Bill,
You had somebody, Bob, that came in late that wanted to speak.
oh, hello.
Oh, I didn't really prepare. I just see one really fast thing.
Oh, go for it. Name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Jennifer Medlin. I'm at 536 Hillside Drive. I serve on Lake Central School Board for Dyer, but this has nothing to do with Lake Central. I don't know if you've been in downtown LaPorte, but they have a mural there. It's a world-class mural at their splash pad. And the artist of the mural is from Dyer, Indiana. And so it might be something to consider when you're redeveloping and doing all kinds of great things in Dyer, that we have a world-class artist in Dyer. His name is Tom Terlumke. And if you were at all interested, I could have his business manager, I guess you would say, give you information about him. But that mural, like I said, it is a world-class mural, and he does live in Dyer, and something to consider. That is all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
5 minutes.
All those in favor by voice vote?
Aye.
5-minute break before the RDC.
The May 12th, 2022 Dyer Redevelopment Commission meeting.
I think we have a quorum at this point. Do we see anybody?
We do now.
We do now.
Testing. You or you on the YouTube? Different? No, never. She talks softly. Thank you.
Oh, don't wait on me.
I'm seeking a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, including the minutes of the April 14th, 2022 Redevelopment Commission meeting and the claims totaling $21,238.80.
I'll make that motion as presented.
We have a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Aye.
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 Next, in new business, we have the resolution 2022-1 determining the need to capture incremental assessed valuation. We have to do this every year. If you want to do an explanation, Dave, or not.
It's pretty, you hit it on the head. Two self-explanatory needs to be filed by June 15th. That our intent is to capture the 100% of the incremental assessed valuation.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2022-01.
I'll second that motion.
You have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Aye.
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 Aye. Next, we have the tip areas, and you have before you a couple of maps, and Dyer is rather unique that we are involving ourselves in the TDD, which means it's a transit development district. And we're the first ones in Indiana to really comply, to be part of this. It's a unique way of funding. We want to make sure that we're capturing all the money that we can for the areas, especially with the South Shore coming in. So since we are doing this and other parts of the state are looking at us also, I'm going to be taking this map down to our statewide meeting on Wednesday down to Lafayette because there's other areas in the state of Indiana that are going to be looking at this. So we want to make sure that we know what this is. We know what parcels that we're looking at, the TIF maps, and where they fall off at the bottom. The expiration dates are on the bottom. So we make sure that we can get all the money that we are, that we have coming to us through the TIF, and it's a tax increment financing. Is TIF, the TDD is a transit development district. Whole new concept for this particular, for our state. So we want to take a careful look at that. If you look at the map that we received this evening, you can look at the transit development district. We want to make sure that there are places that they may overlap, but do we keep them separately? And we really need to consider that, whether we're going to keep them separately or whether they're going to be working together. And again, Dyer has a unique opportunity to work together to combine both of them to make sure that we are getting all the money that we can do to develop those areas. Go ahead.
Okay, so and if you know this, but for the benefit of all those listening, a TDD works exactly like a TIF. The difference is the state legislature acts as the town council with the TIF, and revenues are shared between the county and the municipality. The statute, the TDD statute, does provide for an overlap of TIF and TDD districts, except it's vaguely worded. It just says the town and the TDD will work to reach an agreement as to how revenues will be shared. So we can either amend the TIF to exclude areas that are covered within the TDD. In my view, but it's a painstaking process. You have to provide notice to all affected property owners and have a public hearing. In my legal opinion, it's just as effective to reach some sort of agreement with the TDD as to how the revenues will be shared among the TIF and the TDD. And then you have complete leeway as to what that arrangement is.
One other aspect of it too, which they don't have everything determined on, is picking up business, Can you hear me? Hello?
There you go.
Yeah, wow. Is picking up business and picking up income tax, which we don't normally just pick up property tax. That's something that the TDD can accomplish. And as Adam mentioned about the overlaps that are in there, at least from, as mentioned, this is a new concept. So we're still determining how the dynamics of this are going to work. And in fact, that meeting that was being talked about that Dave mentioned, we're going to circulate some dates where they can come in and talk about the development itself up there with the TOD, the transit-oriented design, as well as this district itself. If the TIF is in place and the TDD overlaps it, as we understand, those increments come to the town first, and through agreement with the RDA, we determine how those monies are managed. If the TDD is in place and the town doesn't have a TIF, then they go to the RDA and another agreement happens in there. So there's mention of whether we'd exclude any of our TIF areas where there's a TDD. The other question is whether we put in place a TIF where there may be a TDD. And it all has to do with how these monies are received and managed. So I know Dave and I and Adam are trying to get clarity as to how this mechanism works administratively. And apparently parts of that are being built out, because one of the original things we asked for was existing agreements, but there aren't any that go off of. And even asking how the income tax is going to work, but they're still apparently downstate still working out how some of that's going to work. But apparently working with the TDD allows utilization of RDA resources and cooperative efforts in regards to the land, as far as these lands in their development as well. So bonding authority that they could provide, but again, some of these other things that are out there. So learning a lot of different things in regards to that. And again, as I mentioned before, and Dave had mentioned, those dates that'll be circulated where there can be a presentation by Zoom or in person to give more information about, the development itself, but also this concept of the TDD.
Yes.
So within there, are we considering looking at areas that should be within the TIF that aren't presently in the TIF?
We're looking right now at extending it all along Main Street, because that's kind of what the TDD is all about.
Okay, but that's what I'm asking
And
about
eventually down to
the TIF districts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some
This
obvious
is,
development areas that are not covered on this map, such as the property on Calumet Avenue. There's property that's on the west side south of 213th. There's property north of 213th, just past the water pump station there. That's open for development. I see along the railroad track property on the west side, we have it TIF, but the property on the east side is also town-owned property. So it just, at some point, I'd like to review the totality to see if there's an opportunity or a benefit for adding, including, or modifying this map.
We talked about having just a study session to really study all the information that we have. We also have another legal expert down in Indianapolis that can give us some help as well that we've been talking to.
I know some thoughts, Councilwoman Tanis, regarding possibly next meeting, giving some additional depth to some of these reports in terms of cash flow, as well as some of the areas that you're talking about, like north of the oncology center, where that could be brought in, including that whole block.
I think it'd be beneficial for the town to review it first, and we're adding what we want before we ask any outside entity on what they would want.
Oh, agreeable. And again, we talked about how these things interact with each other. What is it the town wants to do before that's done?
Yeah, before we even go out to ask any legal or anybody else outside of town, I think we should properly have a study session, review all of it, discuss it, even if it takes several study sessions. I think we owe it to the town to review this TIF district, the possibilities, the ones that are in there that may not need to be there. I know we have some residential area. I looked within 4 years will be the first expiration. Some of them do not expire to 2039 or later. But I think it would be prudent for us as a regional development commission to have some study sessions, review it, develop those ideas, see the pros and cons of each idea.
Agreed. And we have some parcels in there that actually have dropped in value. They've gone under the base.
Yeah.
And that does take away from our increment. So we want to analyze that to see if some should be removed while keeping the continuity of the TIF itself.
Yes.
But it will actually positively increment our positively affect our increment. Because those negatives do take away from it. And there's a number of properties that do that. So it's all part of this analysis that we're talking about. Councilman Kramer has mentioned and everyone here. So, but that's why the thoughts that perhaps the next meeting, we talked about kind of getting into greater depth on all of these topics.
Yeah. Great idea. That's what I'd like to do.
If I can follow up to that as well. So this is a deep dive, this map. I want to thank Frank for getting this done. Hot off the presses, the ink's still wet. The X marks down there in your graph represent a draft of the TDD area. So those areas have to be contiguous. They have to touch each other for that to work. So what we're trying to have, look at the map, familiarize with your TIF area versus your TDD. TIF is completely under our control. TDD has to be contiguous. So, and square miles was a half acre.
Yeah, about 302, I think, acres of, in this one, 107 is with us and 195 is north of us.
So we are limited a little bit in space. So that's what we want to take a deep dive in and study session. Bring any questions you have about this map or any proposed areas and future TIF areas, like Councilman Kramer said, and we should all get on the same page and move forward.
Including the residential TIF discussion down south as well, Meadowbrook area, because that's an entirely different kind of TIF and has its own set of rules that we'd like to discuss.
Any further discussion? We have any citizen input? Any and all?
I just, I wanted to do this earlier, but I wanted to thank Frank and Utility Board and also the town manager for the new fence around the Sandy Ridge water tower. Looks great.
Yeah. We have a motion for adjournment.
Second.
All those in favor, voice vote.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.